Good morning, students. So, today we are going to uh, study network layer and its design issues. Okay, so last time we have studied Ethernet, okay, Ethernet cabling, and then Manchester encoding, okay, then Ethernet Xavier protocol, right? So today the next after data link layer, see, so that was so whatever we have studied in unit 1 and part of unit 2 was about physical layer and data link layer. Okay, so in OSI model, after your physical layer and data link layer comes the network layer. Okay, so today we'll see what network layer does and which are the network layer design issues. Okay, so network layer is concerned with getting packets from the source all the way to the destination. Okay, which will require making many hops along the intermediate routers. Okay, so to get the packet from the source to the destination, it may require many hops. Okay, hops are the jumps, okay, which you have to go through all many routers which are there, okay, with minimal cost. Okay, so it is concerned with getting packets from source to the destination with minimal cost. Okay, and this layer, that is the network layer, is the lowest layer that deals with end to end transmission. Okay, so to achieve its goal, network layer must know about the topology of the network. Your topology of network is your set of all routers and the links. Okay, okay, so it should know about the topology of the network. Okay, it must also take care when choosing routers to avoid overloading. Okay, and then some of communication lines while learning. Okay, it also deals with the problem that occurs when the source and destination are at different are in different networks. Okay, so these are some things which we have which network layer deals with. Okay, now next is network layer design issues. Okay, so what do you mean by design issues is we had already seen data link layer design issues. Okay, now today we'll see network layer. So this today's lecture is about network layer design issues. Okay, as I explained, your network layer is concerned with getting packets from the source all the way to the destination with minimal cost. Unlike data link layer, which has the more modest goal of just moving frames from one end of a wire to the other, network layer is the lowest layer that deals with end to end transmission. Okay, so next is your network layer design issues. Means what? When somebody is going to design a network layer, the designer has to keep these points in mind. Okay, some of the design issues that a designer of the network layer must grapple with are: the first is store and forward packet switching, second is service provided to the transport layer, third is implementation of connectionless service, fourth is implementation of connection oriented service. Okay, so these are some network layer design issues. In this lecture we will also compare the what are virtual and datagram networks, what are virtual circuit networks and datagram networks. Okay, so first we will discuss I will discuss all these 4 points in detail, okay, with the comparison. Okay, so first we will see what is the first design issue, that is what is store and forward packet switching. You all can see this diagram. Okay, so this diagram is showing a oval. Okay, you all can see this oval. You all can see this oval. Okay, this oval this oval is the ISP. Okay, so ISP, this oval what you can see is the ISP, Internet Service Provider. Okay, ISP stands for Internet Service Provider. So today you have Reliance as your Jio as your ISP, your BSNL, your Idea, your Vodafone. These are the ISPs. And this A, B, C, D, what you can see, E, F, all these are routers. So A, B, C, D and E, your A, B, C, D and E are the routers which belong to your ISP, and F is the router which is outside the ISP, so it doesn't belong to your internet service provider. Okay, now when we're discussing about store and forward packet switching, okay, you can see that one is a packet, right, which the process H1, that is host 1. So your H1 is the host 1 and H2 is the host 2. So H1 is say your host, okay, so your machine which you are having at your home, okay, that is your home computer, say. And then H2 is a computer which is on the LAN, say the college computer, Don Bosco. Okay, you have a LAN, okay, so that is your Don Bosco machine. Okay, so you want to send some packet or some data from H1 to H2. Okay, so what you will do is, okay, so you want to send data packet from H1 to H2. So what we have to do is, that packet which you want to send is you have to send it through the ISP. Okay, so your H1 is directly connected to one of the router A, okay, as a home computer that is plugged into a DSL modem, okay, and your H2 is a LAN, okay, for which is say your Don Bosco Ethernet with a router F, okay, and operated by the college. Okay, so router F is shown outside the oval because it does not belong to ISP, your internet service provider. Okay, so so say host A or your say host H1, okay, with a pack wants to send a packet or transmit a packet to H2. Okay, so what it does, it transmits it to the nearest router. Okay, so in this case nearest router is A, okay, over a point to point link. This is your point to point link which is between H1 and A. Okay, the packet is stored there, so a packet is stored in A, okay, till the full packet arrives. What do you mean by this is, a packet can have many frames, right? So a packet has say 2 frames or 3 frames or 4 frames. So what it will do, till all frames arrive at A will store all the frames. Okay, and as the frames, and yeah, for the last lecture I have told you all how the frames are sent, which format, okay, and that frame format was having something called a checksum, right, that was doing error checking, so that A router by the time all the frames come, okay, it will do the error checking also. Okay, so the packet is stored there at A until it has fully arrived, okay, and the link has finished its processing, okay, by verifying the checksum. Then it is forwarded to the next router along the path, okay, until it reaches the destination host where it is to be delivered. Say then it takes, next is C also same thing is done. Okay, that for packet 1, okay, once the checksum is done, it is arrived properly, then it is sent to C. Here also same, it is checked, then it comes to E, then it comes to F, and then it reaches the host H2. Okay, so this mechanism is called as store and forward packet switching, where at each router, whether it belongs to ISP or not, Okay, it stores the packet till all frames of that package arrives and the verifying is done. The or verifying your checksum is verified. Okay, whether the frame has reached properly or not. Okay, and then it is forwarded. So this is what we have in this is what is the first design issue of network layer, that is store and forward packet switching. Okay, so next we move on. That is what I have explained here. You all can read later on. Whatever I have explained is written there. Okay, so next we move on to the next service, that is service provided to the transport layer. Okay, now above the network layer we have transport layer. Okay, so you have to provide, your network layer has to provide some services to the network layer. Okay, so you can see here I've listed out three main services which are provided to the transport layer. So the network layer services has been designed with the following goals in mind. The first, the services should be independent of the router technology. Okay, so whatever configuration the router is using, okay, it should be independent of the router technology. Means it, the router can use can be configured in any, it should can be configured anyhow, but it should not affect whatever service you are providing the transport layer. Second is the transport layer should be shielded from the number, type and topology of the routers present. Okay, so whatever topology the router are using, or what are the numbers, what are the IP addresses, or what are type of router, it should not affect, it should not be seen to the transport layer. That was the second, that is the second service provided to the transport layer. Third is network addresses, okay, made available to the transport layer should use a uniform numbering plan even across LANs and WANs. Okay, so if you are using say IP version 4, use IP version 4. If you are using IP version 6, it should, so it should be uniform, whether say if you are in a local area network or a wide area network. Okay, so this is the second thing, services provided to the transport layer. Third design issue is implementation of connectionless service. Okay, now connectionless service means the packet is called as datagram. We all know that, right? In connectionless service, the packet is called as datagram, right? And we have datagram network, right? Okay, now you can see here. Okay, this oval is your ISP. Okay, this oval is your ISP. You have H1 as the your home computer, H2 as your Don Bosco computer. Okay, then now this is your connectionless service. Okay, now in that I want to send data from H1 to H2, host 1 to host 2. Okay, so say the data is very big, so I divide into 4 packets. So here I have 1 2 3 and 4 packets which I have to send to H2, host 2. So what I do is in connectionless service I can take any path, right? I don't have to decide on the path first here because it is connectionless service. Okay, now you can see here each router which are there in the ISP will have a routing table. Means they have a table which in which it is mentioned from it goes from where and which line is used. So initially we will see the A's table. Okay, so initially if the you can see two columns are there, initially and later. So you just see this initially part. Okay, now initially this is first column is destination, second column is line. Initially, since it is A stable, is the destination, line is dash. Okay, since it is a stable, destination is A and line is dash. Now destination is B. So A to B is what? A to B, you can see here, A to B is line is B. Okay, so B is the destination, line is B. Then next is C. A to C is what? Line is C, destination is C. Then D destination, that is this destination. Okay, so since it is A's routing table, to go from A to D, it has to go through B, right? So B. Okay, B is the line. Then E is here. So at E, you can either go through D or C. Okay. So now initially what is mentioned here? C. Means it is taking this path. So to go, the packet will take this path, that is through C. So line is C to reach E. Okay. And then F, the line is E. Okay. That is through C. So to reach to F from A, it has to go through C. Okay, you can also go through B, but it is taking C. That is what initially it is mentioned. Okay, so now what happens is, these 4 packets which are there, okay, since it is connectionless service, so first number 1 packet will take which path? It will go from A to C, C to E, and E to F. So packet A has reached here. Okay, then the second packet, okay, it will take the same path, A to C, C to E. Okay, and then third packet, A to C. Now fourth packet is still there, and it has come to know that there is some congestion here, there is some jam here, so it will take the other path. Okay, so that, see, the main goal of all the packets is to reach H2, whether it takes this path or this path. Okay, it has to reach as early as possible the destination. So in connectionless service, this is possible. So if there is a jam anywhere, okay, it can take the other path to reach the destination. So since the fourth packet is taking the other path, okay, is taking this other path, your ACE table which is there is getting updated. Okay, your ACE table which is there is getting updated, and you will, what updation is, see, A remains like that, B remains like that, C remains like that. Okay, what changes is the E and F. So to reach E, what it will take? B. And to reach F also it will take B, because the fourth packet which is there is taking the other path. Okay, so ACE table, the routing table is there, gets updated, so that the fourth packet which is there travels the other route, that is through line B. So earlier, initially, the line which was there was CC. You can see here C and C. But now it is B and B, because it is taking the other path. Okay, and this is your C's table and your E's table. So this is how the all 4 packets reach the destination. Okay, and here the packets are called as datagram. Okay, and the subnet is called as what? Datagram subnet. Okay, I hope you all have understood this. Okay, at this also, at this here in this case also, all the packets are stored first. The checksum is generated, is verified whether the frames are proper, and then it is forwarded. Okay, that same procedure is followed here also. Okay, so the algorithm, okay, that manages the table, Okay, so initially it was like this, later on it got like that, right? The algorithm that manages the table and makes this routing decisions of changing, okay, is called this are called as the routing algorithm, which we'll study in the next lecture. Okay, so I hope you all have understood this. We will go to the next. Okay, next is implementation of connection oriented service. Okay, here also what happens is the same diagram we have considered, which is of the same home computer. Okay, this is your home computer, and this is, say, the LAN of Don Bosco. This is your ISP. Okay, carrier equipment, your internet service provider. Okay, now in this case, that is your mm, connection oriented service. Okay, implementation of connection oriented service. What happens here is, here initially a virtual circuit is set up, or what we can say here is, here we need a virtual circuit subnet in order to avoid having to choose a new route for every packet sent. Okay, which was done in the previous, that is implementation of connection less service. Okay, so here first connection is established. Okay, so which routers the packets will take, okay, are first only decided by the source and the destination machine. Okay, so from source machine to the destination machine, okay, which routers will be taken by the packets are first only decided. Okay, so in other words, okay, when a connection is established, a route from source machine to destination machine is chosen as a part of setup. Okay, and this route is stored in tables inside the routers. Okay, and these routes are used for all traffic flowing over the connection. Okay, and when the connection is released, virtual circuit is also terminated. Okay, so here each packet carries an identifier. Okay, so your each packet will carry an identifier, okay, telling which virtual circuit it belongs to. Okay, as shown in the figure you can see here. Okay, so it will, you can see here A stable. Okay, A stable, this is the A router. Okay, so A stable. Okay, you have something called as H1 and H3. So you have, say, this is your home computer and this is your friend's computer. So this is person A and this is, say, so this is H1. Okay, so this is, okay, so there are two hosts, H1, H3 and H2. Okay, so H1 is your, say, your computer, H3 is your friend's computer. Now you can see A stable will have, okay, uh, say your name, say H1, and your friend's name H3. Okay, and it is having 1 1, and then it is having also C, because see, first, when, since it is connection oriented service, all this H1, H3 and H2, first only they decide on the virtual circuit or the route which the packet, all the packets will take. So all the packets will take which route? Okay, all the packets will take which route? A to C, C to E and E to F. This is the route which they will take. Okay, now say, when H1 wants to, this is in and out, you can see here, this is in and out, means H1, from H1 first packet is come and then sent to C. Okay, so at this point it is decided, so what I said is, Here each packet carries an identifier telling which virtual circuit it belongs to. Okay, so this is say virtual circuit 1. Okay, and you can have that is coming from here, that is virtual circuit 2. Okay, this is say virtual circuit 2. Okay, so at this point when the packet arrives, A doesn't know, okay, which, so both are putting 1 here. So A, H1 also is putting 1 packet, H3 is also putting 1 packet. Okay, so first I will explain your the first row. So here H1 puts packet 1, okay, and then it sends to C, A sends to C, and it is still 1. Okay, then C's router A input is 1, E is 1. So that same packet is, so 1 comes here, then 1 comes here, okay, goes here, it goes to E, then E's 1 comes here, it goes to F. So C1, F1. So I hope you all have understood the first row. So the first packet with identifier 1 comes from H1 to C, C to A to E to C, and C to F. Okay, I'll repeat. H1 to A, that is first one at A, then it goes to C, okay, then it goes to E, and it goes to F. Okay, then again one more packet comes. Okay, that also H1 gives the identifier H3. Now this is coming from H3, say. So one has come from here. Okay, so H3 also gives a puts the identifier 1 and gives it to A. Okay, now A already have seen the identifier 1. Okay, but H3 doesn't know, so H3 puts as 1. But C, when it is sending the packet, it numbers it as 2. Why? Because one identifier is already been taken. Okay, then A, that is 2, okay, given to from C it goes to E, that is also 2, and then E it goes to F, that is also 2. That is the second packet. Okay, so this is what we have in connection oriented service. Okay, so the first line of A's table, you can see this first line of A's table says that if a packet bearing connection of identifier 1 comes in from H1, then it is to be sent to router C. Okay, and given a connection identifier as 1. Okay, similarly, first entry of C's router, okay, the packet of E is also with connection identifier 1. Okay, if H3 also wants, now next, okay, and then further it goes to F1. Now H3 also wants to establish a connection with A, okay, and chooses the identifier 1. Okay, you can see here it chooses the identifier 1 and tells the subnet to establish virtual circuit. Okay, so this leads to this second row, okay, in the table. Now we have a conflict here, because although A can easily distinguish connection 1 packet from H1, that to connection 1 packet from H3. So C cannot do this. So what it does, what C does, C gives the identifier as 2, a different connection identifier to the outgoing traffic. So A can identify it. Why? Because A is directly connected to H3, but C will not be able to identify it, right? So what it does, C, when it is outgoing, it gives the identifier as 2, and which is maintained further to avoid the conflict. Okay. So here each router has the ability to replace connection identifier in the connection packet. Okay, and this is called as label switching. Okay, so your each routers which are there, okay, Okay, they have a ability to replace connection identifier in the packets. Okay, and this method is called as label switching. Okay, this is called as what? Label switching. Okay, so this is what we have in implementation of connection oriented service. Okay, so next we'll see. So these were the 4 design issues, network layer design issue. Last is the comparison of the virtual circuit and datagram subnet. So the first point is based on the circuit setup. Okay, in datagram subnet, that is connectionless network. Okay, you need not set up the route, right? In datagram subnet, no need of circuit setup is required. In virtual circuit subnet, before sending the data, you have to decide on the virtual circuit or the path which the packets will take. That is the first point. Okay, first point is here circuit is in datagram subnet, circuit is not needed, and in virtual circuit subnet it is required. Virtual circuit path, to decide on the path, is required. Second is the addressing. In datagram subnet, each packet contains the full source and destination address. In datagram subnet, because they can take any path, each packet should know from where it is coming and where it is going. So it should have what? It should have both the full source as well as destination address. And here each packet has something called as VC number, virtual circuit number, VC1, VC2 and so on. Okay, so second point, based on the differentiation, the comparison based on the addressing, that is here you require in datagram, that is connectionless, we require source and destination address, and connection oriented, we require virtual circuit number. Then next is the staged information. Okay, here in datagram subnet, okay, routers do not hold state information about connections. Okay, and in virtual circuit subnet, each virtual circuit requires router table space per connection. So per connection it requires table space. You can see those rows were there for each connection it was. Then next is routing. Based on routing, in datagram subnet, each packet is routed independently. Each packet can take any route which they want because it already has the source address and the destination address. But here in virtual circuit subnet, it is not possible. Okay, so each packet routed independently. Here it has to take the virtual circuit path, same path, okay, which is set up or which is established at the start. Okay, then next is effect of router failures. What happens if the router failures in datagram subnet? Okay, if fails, if router fails in datagram subnet, nothing happens. Okay, none except for packets lost during crash, nothing happens. Okay, nothing happens, but none. Okay, effect, there is none effect of router failure, none. Only thing, those packets which has uh, gone through those router will be crashed. But here all virtual circuits that pass through the failed router are terminated. Here that system, because since that virtual circuit, the router, if the failed router is in that particular virtual circuit, okay, then all the routes are terminated. Okay, all virtual circuit that pass through the failed router are terminated. Then quality of service is difficult in datagram subnet, but it is easy if enough resources can be allocated in advance for each virtual circuit. Then congestion control is difficult in datagram subnet, but it is easy in virtual circuit if enough resource can be allocated in advance for each virtual circuit. Okay, so this is what we have in virtual circuit subnet and datagram subnet. Okay, so mostly the question is asked for 5 to 6 marks, difference between or compare virtual circuit subnet and datagram subnet. Okay, and this, based on these issues, you have to differentiate them. So I hope you all have understood. I hope you all have understood.